Welcome to this Odo Hf Fallen Master Planner run. We're just checking our builds here. We've got one DPS who is using a blast attack and improved blasts to apply an AoE debilitate. Two DPS have two impairs, so they're using chaos to supply the impairs. We have a blood healer and a tank as normal. I'm the tank and I'm running Reality Fracture and Crimson Theatre. That's particularly useful for when I'm kiting around and dragging mobs back and forth through the AoEs. Because it's Master Planner, the DPS are having to move one at a time from pylon to pylon so that the healer can individually keep up, whoever has the dot at that particular time. So we've got through the storm and we're coming up on the RTO Machinist. We've already worked out our impair order. We're impairing arcane artifacts, and he has an ability called Life Strip that needs the tank to burn a defensive cooldown. I'm using Stoicism. So get in nice and quickly, and unfortunately the very first arcane artifact my impair glanced. So here you'll get to see it. It's a turret with a laser sight that occasionally pulses blue. Anyone in that line will take damage. As you can see here, it doesn't matter if you are line of sighting the turret, you will still take damage. Fortunately, the boss's shield doesn't last too long, and once his shield is gone, the DPS will be able to burn him down really quickly. So just burning through the ads nice and fast, and we're on to the second boss, the Archwrath. Here everyone is going to be targeting the boss and only the boss. We'll be impairing catastrophic feedback. I'll use Reality Fracture and Crimson Theatre to get lots of hate on everyone whilst I kite them around the pillars, because there's so many of them that if I try and face tank this, I will just get beaten into the ground. Try to avoid line of sighting your healer too often. They get fairly grumpy if you do that. But it's all just a case of staying alive whilst his shield drops, and again, very little health, nice and quick. Now we're coming up to the third boss here, and so we've already worked out who's going to be impairing which of the tyrants, which DPS will be staying on Tyrant Prime just to impair him, and I'll be marking the closest engineer to make it a little bit easier for the DPS to be able to tell which one they need to be impairing. Again, Crimson Theatre and Reality Fracture are great ways of keeping lots of hate on mobs which you may not necessarily be in immediate proximity to, particularly as the engineers are going to be getting impaired using chaotic pulls, and so Reality Fracture is really handy here. I've also got the passive on, which gives a glance increase from Crimson Theatre, and I'm using Steel Palace to get minor ward. As soon as the engineers teleport away, then we'll nuke them down, and then the DPS are all on the boss for a few seconds before he turns and runs. When he runs over here and calls the second tyrant, he aggro wipes. So ideally you want to be using Stoicism. For some reason mine didn't go off in time, which is why the tyrant is going off. I've got mass provoked for exactly that situation, and so got it back before it caused a wipe. Now we've got one of the DPS staying on Prime and impairing him, but not doing any DPS. Prime is now only taking damage from my tanking AoEs. We're going to impair Firmament Barrage and Vile Tendril on both tyrants, and then as soon as Alpha's shield goes down, we will burn him down. When he hits about 30%, I've told the DPS on Prime to start attacking, because we want to get them down as quickly as possible, as engineers have turned up. And that's the engine tyrants. Important thing about the next fight is that the animal well does not put up a blue wall until the boss enters the arena. That means that if you die, then you will be able to respawn and run back in. The mobs that enter the arena are able to gain hate on the healer long time before the tank can actually do any damage to them. As soon as they spawn within visual distance they're getting hate on the healer from any heal aggro he was doing. So it's really useful for DPS to use razor wire, and for healers to just hold off. We've got 4 waves here because we engaged that first one when we ran in. Normally there will only be 3 and then a wave of bombs. The first wave, not really that much to worry about. For the bombs, you will want to stack up. It makes life a lot easier to have all the bombs in one location instead of spread out. If you aren't able to stay stacked up, it's not a biggie, it just makes life a little bit easier. So we're about to get our first wave of annoying ads. These guys, just like their friends in Hell Raised, have searing brands. That means that if they get hate on the healer, they are very likely to just one-shot them. They're also going to do lots of damage to the tank, which is why Rocket Jump is a really useful skill to be using here. There's going to be more coming in. They come in irritatingly quickly, and you need to try and pick up hate as fast as you can so that the healer doesn't get toasted. Sadly, I didn't manage it here, and so Kimasabi has just died. I'm just trying to keep some distance myself so that I don't die as well. Kime has just run back in and he's going to be healing me any second. The fight will only reset if all 5 people die pretty much at the same time. So as long as one person is still in the arena, then the fight will keep going. We haven't stacked up for this set of bombs, doesn't really matter. Lost 1 DPS to him, he's able to respawn and run straight back in as well. It's great stuff. So then we have the boss arrive. Here she is. She has one ability which you want to impair, which is just a fairly short range AoE. It's got a long cast time on it. The tank can take care of impairing that. Otherwise, just burn her down, and her shield will go down before she starts calling on the ads, and you should be able to kill her before you get any ads actually get rezzed. Moving on to the lava boys. Now these 3 have the interesting thing of they will only pull the second one, or the following one rather, once they lose 10% of their life. Ideally you want to do almost no damage in the phase where they have a shield up. Once their shield goes down, then they will cast lava eruption, so you want to get out of that we came very close to actually burning him a little bit too hard here. So here's his lava eruption. Rocket jump away from that because the lava moves annoyingly quickly. And then as soon as the lava disappears, then the DPS can go and kill him. By moving to the other side of the arena as the tank and staying there, that means that you shouldn't really need to worry about taking any damage. Razor wire is another really handy thing that the DPS can bring to help slow the golem down. For some reason we didn't get the second one at all, so I'm going to go and pull one of them. And it's exactly the same deal. He will call the next golem once he's lost 10% health. So ideally you want to stop about sort of 9.9%. We were aiming for that and didn't quite manage it, so you will actually see him turn around and call the next golem, and then he will immediately start doing his lava eruption. So there you go, there's the third one being called. Hop over to the other side, and as the third one walks into the lava, he gets a buff. That's one of the reasons why it's important not to fight them too close to each other, because that buff really hurts. Same deal, he has a shield which is going to go down slowly, and then when it goes down and hits 0, he will cast lava eruption, which he just has. Unfortunately he's caught one of the DPS, but we still have enough to burn the second golem down before the third one finishes his lava eruption. The bosses have an ability called Viscous Toss, which is an AoE impair, which he'll be throwing any second. There he goes. It's important that your healer doesn't stand too close to the tank, otherwise that can get a little messy. So even just with 2 DPS, he goes down nice and quickly. Moving through, we're now onto the Ascendant Assassins. This is just the trash leading up to the last boss. They have an annoying habit of spawning in front and behind you, so it's useful to be able to drop Crimson Theatre and a Reality Fracture, and remind your DPS to not start attacking them until they've actually reached you. Same going up the stairs, we get a couple of waves of these guys. Don't stand in the grenade, and the grenade will still do some damage for a few seconds after the actual visual disappears, so just because it's gone doesn't mean it's entirely safe. Once we're up to the top, we have the last boss itself. First part of this fight, you get these 3 ads, and the tank just body pulls them, keeps sprint on, and runs around waiting for their shield to fall off. I like to mark one of them so that the DPS can target him, as when one dies they will all explode. So the DPS goes single target, and the main trick for the tank on that is building enough resources back up so that you have some to drop in front of Wicker during the next phase. So this next phase is another one where you have to keep moving the entire time. There are too many mobs to be able to face tank them. You want to get hate nice and quickly. If one of them is on Wicker, then he will die in fairly short order, and that will wipe you. So you can use things like dashes, rocket jump. I know people who like to use Helter Skelter on this fight. Personally, I just use rocket jump and active dodge. Then we're on to the 3 big guys. You want lots of solid hate to start off with, so I drop Crimson Theatre, Reality Fracture and use Stoicism. I then make sure to target Magog, because he is the Ascendant who I will be casting, interrupting the phase of. Everyone should be initially targeting Ascendant. He is our first kill target. Once he has cast phase, then the DPS who is going to interrupt Gog will then switch his target to Gog and impair his phase. When you go into the corner, you can actually use the mobs themselves to partially line of sight the others, which gives you a bit of time where you're not getting hit and reduces incoming damage. You'll also want to use Stoicism when you get caught in the corners. It's one of the main reasons to take Stoicism over Art of War in here, in my opinion. So we're moving out again, and Ascendant is now down, so all the DPS is on Gog. I still have Magog targeted, so I will be impairing his phase. If if Gog casts 5th column, then he will call extra adds to the room, and they will pretty much always go straight for the healer. You need to be on the lookout for 5th column, because if you lose your healer, it's going to be a short fight. Thanks for watching.